2026 is my year. I'm gonna lock in. You said the same exact thing last year. You set all these big goals for yourself, but the second you try to work on any of them, your attention's already scattered and you're already instinctively reaching for your phone again, looking for your next hit of dopamine. Hours go by, and by the end of the day, you feel depleted but still got nothing done. What's worse is you can't even enjoy life in the present moment because you feel the need to fill every bit of silence with music, a podcast, or some other form of stimulation. Then you look at successful people where hard work just seems effortless to them, and you think, wow, there must be something wrong with me. But is there? You see, you're not alone in this. This is an attack on our generation by companies who want to turn us into slaves and monetize our attention. And the good news is, it is possible to escape. And if you're watching this, and you related to any of what I just said, then this video is for you. And if you check the comments, or you're scrolling through the recommended section on YouTube, looking for your next source of dopamine, then this video is definitely for you. Full transparency, this is a podcast. It's not going to be super stimulating. There's no music or fancy captions or B-roll in the background. There's no Subway Surfers gameplay underneath the video. You're going to have to sit here and watch, and it will be uncomfortable, but it just might change your life. So, with that being said, Jackson, you want to kick us off and talk about your experiences dealing with brain rot and how you overcame it?
Yeah. What was it, John? It was a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We both decided that something isn't working, that we both would sit down in the studio, and this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is what's going to blow up this podcast or blow up the agency, start making more money. And we would talk about it. We knew what we had to do, but we would never do it.
Yeah.
Or we would just kind of halfway do it.
Yeah.
And I would say for the both of us, it was kind of like a thing in the back of our heads, like, this isn't going to last long.
Yeah.
If we just can't lock in. And one day I saw a video on YouTube of a man saying that your problem is not you, it is your dopamine. It's your attention span. And that day we decided that we were going to do a dopamine detox.
Yeah.
And when we decided that, we're about, a little over 2 weeks in. I can confidently say, out of everything I've ever tried in my life to try to change something and build the life I want, this is the code.
Yeah. What's interesting about it is I remember just a couple days in, I usually would get things done later in the day. And then one morning I just woke up, and normally I'll be editing clips for the podcast. I'll just use that as an example. That's something that typically takes me a while. And then it's already like 10 o'clock in the morning and I've gotten 2 clips done.
Yeah.
When normally it would take me, I'd get the first clip out at like later in the afternoon or even in the evening. I would have it done on that morning. Literally, I woke up and just started working, didn't brain rot. And by 10 a.m., I already had like 2 clips done, which is like more work than I do in most like full days.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's other stuff that I do throughout the day than just clipping, but that's like something that I would just, it's like you just supercharge your energy. You supercharge your energy because when you're trying to get work done, like if you're ever in that situation where you sit down to do something and then you focus for 15 minutes and then you meet some little bit of resistance in whatever you're doing, something that's really challenging, something that requires a lot of creative energy to figure out, or you just have to muscle your way through it. And then all of a sudden you get this little itch to go reach for your phone. Like when you experience that and you give into it, you're basically training your brain to look for something easier. And that's why I realized I couldn't get anything done. It wasn't because I'm lazy or because I'm stupid. It's because I was training my brain to look for something easier every time I would meet a little bit of resistance. And that was the problem. The reason that I couldn't focus was not because the work was bad. In fact, I was actually excited to be working. I was actually like, you know what?
That's one thing I wanted to really talk to you about too.
Yeah.
That's like,
I was excited because when your brain is no longer comparing, this is the thing about boredom. Everybody's afraid of boredom nowadays. Like if you're in the car, I'm always listening to a podcast or listening to music.
Yeah.
If you're sitting at home doing nothing, you always want to just pull out your phone and start scrolling on Reels or something. It's like we've gotten so used to this idea that you always have to be doing something and you have to be filling your head with something. You got to be stimulating yourself somehow. And if you can be in a situation where you're okay with the boredom, then you become unstoppable because your brain is no longer comparing the work to Instagram Reels. Your brain is comparing the work to boredom, and the work will actually start to feel fun again in comparison.
For me, dude, it was like I was always in those nights, like the night before, especially going into 2026. I was like, this is going to be, tomorrow I'm going to change something. I would see something motivational, or I would watch like an Andy Elliott clip, or like Alex Hormozy talk about his work ethic, and be like, well, that's all I have to do. It's just work. But then it would come down to it, and I knew that I wasn't going to be totally excited for it, but I didn't want to do anything. Or I would do like a few things, and then I didn't realize it at the time, but what I would do is I would go and hit a few scrolls, maybe watch a YouTube video to try to learn something.
Yeah.
But it was really myself just trying to get another dopamine hit.
Yeah.
I was so sick and tired of that, and I'm still not out of that. Like, we're still in it, but I can see that like we've probably cracked the code on why I feel like this.
There's a noticeable difference.
For example, I mean, you had saw when I opened the Google Doc for one of our episodes, I started editing an episode, and I was working from 8 o'clock that night. I was like, all right, I got to grind, get this thing out so I can go to sleep. Then I was like, oh, well, I can make this intro a lot better than I normally do. So I learned this whole software in a night. I was editing literally from 8 p.m. to 7:30 that morning. And I looked back, I'm like, what? That was not like me at all.
Yeah.
And I got a lot done. And, you know, Jack's episode ended up being, the intro was better than it normally is, I would say. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I kind of caught myself a little bit because I started to backslide into the dopamine hole a little bit. And I was noticing I was becoming a lot less productive. Like, I'd be sitting down for a while and I'd have one sentence written in scripting an episode.
Yeah.
And I remember this happened literally last night. I just put everything away and I just focused and locked in. Like, nope, I'm not going back into the strap. I'm going to lock in again. And I just sat down. It's like 11 p.m. I should be exhausted right now. And I'm sitting there like a monkey in front of my computer. Like, I'm completely locked in, typing at like 90 words a minute. And I fill an entire page like that. And I get all the work done in like a half hour.
And it was enjoyable, I bet.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a weird way, it was enjoyable. And I felt like a superhuman after I did that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy once you cut out the distractions, not just because of the amount of time you spend on it. I think that's where people get confused. Like, especially if you're watching and you think like, oh, I have 4 hours of screen time. So if I cut out Instagram Reels, I'll free up 3 hours of my day. But the thing is, it's not necessarily about the amount of time that you spend on it as much as it is what you're training your brain to do. It's like conditioning. So it's not that people say like, oh, you know, you'll be able to free up a few hours of your day. It's not about freeing up a few hours of your day. What's the problem right now is you're conditioning your brain where every time you meet a little bit of resistance, you pull your phone out. So even if you're only scrolling for 2 hours, but those 2 hours are 8 periods of 15-minute scrolling, like scrolling blocks. If you're scrolling for 15 minutes and you do that 8 times a day, and those 15 minutes happen every single time you meet an ounce of resistance with the work that you're doing, it doesn't even matter if you didn't spend a whole lot of time scrolling.
You never get anything done.
Right. Even then, 2 hours is still a lot of time.
And the work sucks.
It
starts to suck.
It's the fact that you're training your brain and you're telling yourself, every time I meet a bit of resistance, I'm going to scroll. And even when you're like, okay, I really need to lock in this time, if your subconscious has been conditioned over years to do that, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. And then you're going to just start to hate your work. You're going to hate your life. And everything feels miserable because you're comparing your day-to-day life, which is what you have to do, with Instagram Reels or video games or porn or whatever it is that you're doing. And that's why that's why you feel like crap. It's because you're comparing it to something that's way more stimulating, which is why once you get used to it, you can't get stimulated or fulfilled any other way unless you're brain rotting.
Yeah. I always kind of would question myself, be like, is there honestly something wrong with me? Because I'm going to be a loser if I can't just lock in and do the work. And then you hear guys say, I love doing this work. I love it. I literally find joy. I'm like, yeah, I didn't find that last edit very fun, or the outreach very fun, until my brain stopped comparing the reels to the actual fun, which is when a guest gets back to us and then we have somebody cool come on the show. But that never would have happened if I didn't have done the outreach. You know what I'm saying? Or the episode, I'm like staying up till 9 o'clock because I'm like getting in the edits last minute because I didn't feel like doing it during the week. I've also realized like it doesn't take much for you to go right back into that.
Yeah.
Like, again, what you're saying with the time thing, as bad as it is, like as tough as it sounds, like when you're trying to actually change your life and try to make this thing work and really get the benefits of it, dude, like 5 minutes on your phone, 5 minutes of reels, at least for me, like literally throws me off. Like it cooks my whole day.
Yeah. And we just don't realize it because of how used to it, how we become so used to
When
it.
did you start realizing it?
I realized that when we started doing the dopamine detox.
Well, like how far in? Like how far in did it take?
Oh, like a day, 2 days. Immediately, as soon as I put the devices away. No, the first time I realized how addicted I was when I was over meeting with you. And then we said, we're going to put away the devices and we're not going to look at this for the rest of the day. And I'm like, okay, 100%, I'm going to lock in. And then I remember we're talking about something. We're trying to solve some problem. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was difficult to think about. And then instinctively, I grabbed my phone. I just grabbed my phone out of pure instinct. And I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing?
It's a control. It's like a mind of its own.
Literally, I wasn't even thinking about it. I literally, like, I didn't make the conscious decision, I'm going to grab my phone and start brain rotting on reels. I literally just had a problem that was difficult to solve. My phone was next to me. And subconsciously, I just reached over and picked it up and looked at it. And then went over to Instagram and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? And then of course you made a joke about it and you're like, lock in.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy when you think about that. That's how much power this stuff has over us. This is literally like an attack on our generation. There's a statistic I saw recently. The average adult will spend about 5 years and 4 months on social media over their lifetime.
Dude, you can change your life in a few months, let alone 5 years.
Yeah, you could change your life in those 4 months. You know what I mean? And the average, what's even scarier is the average adult will spend anywhere from 9 to 21 years on their phone. And Gen Z is on the higher end of that spectrum. So the estimates for Gen Z are about 20, 21 years, give or take.
That's sickening.
Yeah. And we think like, oh, that's totally impossible. How would you spend 20 years on your phone? Well, it's simple. 6 hours a day. You have 24 hours in a day. And if you spend 6 hours a day on your phone and you live about 80 years, that's about 20 that's about 20 years of your life. And even if you're spending 3 hours on your phone per day, like even if you're spending 3 hours a day on your phone, that's not as much time. That's about 10 years. That's a decade of your life looking at a screen. And it's one thing if you're looking at a screen and like whatever you're doing on that screen is like changing your life.
Yeah.
But I would challenge the viewer, like if you're watching this and you're getting those thoughts like coping, like you're starting to cope with this a little bit, like, no, it's not that bad, it's actually beneficial. I would encourage you, especially if you've been watching a lot of short form content, try to remember the last 5 reels that you just watched or the last 5 shorts that you just watched.
Even YouTube videos.
Yeah, like what did you just look at 5 reels ago?
Yeah.
What did you see? You probably don't even remember.
Or like 5 beats ago.
It's like all this energy is just going into the void.
Yeah.
So we want to change our lives, right? But then at the end of the day, we end up wasting it. And who benefits from that, right? It's these companies that are basically turning our generation into a bunch of slaves and monetizing our attention. Like you ever wondered why all the social media platforms are free? Why is that?
I don't know.
It's because you're the product.
Yeah.
They make their money from advertisers and they're selling your attention from to advertisers. So literally you are the product that they are selling. That's why they use every trick in the book. That's why I did a research project on this in college. Social media companies will literally pay psychologists to figure out ways to make their app more addicting. Same thing with video games. Video game designers, these companies like Activision, for example, will literally hire psychologists to analyze their gameplay and take every single sound effects. Like say you're talking about Call of Duty, the gunshots, the clicks from the gun, the reload, like when you put the new magazine in and it clicks, like every single detail, every color, every flash of light, they literally pay psychologists to make it as addictive as possible to the human brain.
I mean, all in all, it's like, it's in their best interest too, but we've just become literally products.
Yeah.
of their scheme.
Hey, we'll get back to the episode in just a minute, but real quick, the new Jesus First hats are out now. You can hit the link in the description to go to our online store and grab yours.
We decided to make a movement around the only thing that's going to save this country, Jesus First. Wear it if you're bold enough. Link in description.
Anyway, let's get back to the show.
I wanted to go back. I remember we always talk about Opal, like we use Opal all the time. Yeah, just kind of blocks all the things on your phone, all the apps, screen time. And I had mine set to like, I want to say 30 minutes a day across all social media, like YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, even though I don't use Snapchat, but TikTok.
Yeah.
All of that. And on paper, my screen time was limited to 30 minutes. But then there's also the feature where you can disable it for 15 minutes. So it would be more. But let's just say my average was an hour. That hour was literally venom.
Yeah.
Like that hour on social media was the venom to the reason why I could go into 2027 and I'm going to say the exact same thing I did in 2025. I'm going to change my life.
Yeah.
2026 rolls around and I have that same night right after the new year. Tomorrow's going to be the time I change it. 2026 is going to be my year. But that hour of venom on social media is stealing everything I want in my life away from me. Yeah. Not even to mention something like corn, which we have both gotten off of that by the grace of God. Like, you know, that we couldn't be able to do that without Christ. But
yeah,
that on top of that, like, you won't be able to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, how are you going to change the world if you can't even focus for more than 15 minutes? And
yeah,
like you said, you put it perfectly. It is in these companies' best interest to do this to us. So at the end of the day, I see a lot of videos out there that kind of like soften the blow to the viewers. And they say, well, if you're dealing with all of this, it's not your fault. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it kind of is your fault. Or at the very least, it's your responsibility.
It was my fault for 19 years.
Same thing with me. It's like at the end of the day, they're going to act in their best interest. So you need to act in yours. You know what I mean? If these social media companies and these porn companies or whatever, these video game companies are acting in their best interest, they're going to do that anyway. It's in their best interest. They want to make money. Of course they're going to act in their best interest. You are responsible for acting in your best interest and saying no to it. So I guess what it really comes down to is, how do you do that? I know everybody watching is probably itching for the action.
Yeah, I was just about to go. I was like, for the listeners, we should probably, what did you do exactly, John, to implement the dopamine detox system in your life and see changes?
Yeah, so first of all, like we mentioned before, Opal is a great one. You got to put something on your phone to block you from using social media impulsively. And Opal's a great one. I'm sure there are other ones out there. I personally love to use Opal. The way that I use it that's different, at least for a dopamine detox, than most people is, with most of these social media blockers, you can block out certain sessions of like, I'm going to stay off social media for 8 hours. And then every now and then you can take like a 15-minute break if you want to. Yeah. And there's a little bit of a resistance to it. You have to wait a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that was my Achilles heel.
Yeah. So actually what I did is I doubled down on that Achilles heel. Whereas instead of the thing that people get wrong about it is when you block it out for 8 hours, and even if you don't watch it at all in those 8 hours, if your brain is craving so much dopamine that you will, like, it's like a slingshot. Those 8 hours are your brain like increasing tension as you're craving dopamine more and more. You're craving that dopamine hit. You're craving that high. So as soon as that timer goes up, you'll brain rot for like 4 hours. You'll be scrolling on Reels for 4 hours. And that's why what I do instead is I block it pretty much 24 hours a day. And then if I ever am going to use Instagram for any reason or any social media app, I will use the 15-minute break option. And what that will do is it basically removes the impulse. That's the biggest thing. Number one is remove the impulse. If you can, it's not even that it stops you from using the apps. It just makes it a little bit harder to access. Like, you have to open it. You have to wait for a few seconds for the thing to unlock. And then you have to take a break. And then in those few seconds, you can really decide, is this something I actually want to do right now?
It stops the thing we were talking about earlier. Like
the subconscious
pickup, yeah.
And that's also done by design. Did you know that Instagram spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their new logo because they split tested a whole bunch of different versions and then used those little eye tracker things that YouTubers use in those eye tracker challenges, and they would measure the amount of time people would stare at it, and they would find the one that they were staring at the longest, and that was the one that they used.
Goodness.
Like, they literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just in their logo. I think it was $250,000 to be exact, to figure out the exact colors and the exact layout that would make people stare at it the longest, down to the 100th of a second.
To be fair, it's like spend $5 and make 50 billion.
Yeah.
To them,
literally.
That's an insane investment.
Literally. But like that's how deep it goes. That's how much everything is curated, how much everything is tailored to suck you into it. And that's why you have to deal aggressively with it. It's like people say, oh, it's extreme. You know, you guys are being extreme by blocking it 24 hours a day. It's like, this is an extreme problem.
Yeah, it is.
Extreme problems require extreme solutions. So
it's the matter of you actually changing your life. Like for me, it's like, what do we want to do? We want to grow this podcast so that we can talk to people all over the world and actually make a difference in this life. What does that entail? A lot of work.
Yeah.
And making videos and not feeling depleted going into the conversations with her. Like on our own episodes, dude, I've noticed a difference in just the last two, because I feel better. Like I can talk better. Like I'm not in my own thoughts when I'm speaking. It's just been a total change, but I wanted to talk about boredom. What has helped me the most in the 2 weeks, not necessarily just with getting off of social media, it helped that too, but my own well-being and my own sense of drive and purpose, the reason why I'm doing things and why I want to be successful, is when you get that moment of, ooh, I want to go pick up my phone, or I want to go watch YouTube, or just your brain basically wanting dopamine is all it is to just acknowledge that you are bored and like sit in it. Like be present in the boredom. And in our world, not enough people think about their situation, where they're at. It's like a constant distraction, even in your own mind, because we've been trained to just go to different things. But when you sit in the boredom, you have no other option but to think about yourself, think about the things going on around you. And if you are somebody who wants to be successful, where are you going to think if you're not happy in your life? Right. You're going to think about the inputs and outputs that you're doing right now. You're going to think about, oh, I told myself I was going to get rich last year. Oh, I told myself I was going to read my Bible. Oh, I told myself I was going to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. But at the end of the day, you never actually truly think about it because you're so distracted. And it's almost like when you sit in the boredom, you grow strength in trying to do this and do it well, because you realize, if I don't make this change, I'm going to be a freaking loser. Yeah. And I'm not going to achieve the things. And to me, that's worse than freaking anything. Since we've been doing the dopamine detox, dude, that keeps me up at night. Because I'm like, if I don't change something here, because it takes that one morning, that one slip up, that it throws the whole thing off. And I wanted to say this too. I think we had both talked about it. I think it was 2 days ago. I think we had both kind of slipped back a little bit. And at the moment, I was really upset about it. But then I knew that we were going to film this video, and I think that this could help people. When I was in that moment of regret, after the 2 weeks, and I kind of slipped back, I started watching some reels, and I felt literally terrible. I felt terrible. I felt sick to my stomach because of what I had just done to my brain.
And I kind of did too.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what has this been doing to me my whole life?
Yeah, it's like that terrible feeling was our normal state of mind. Yeah. Or pretty much and that's most people's normal state of mind. So that's the thing, it puts it in perspective just how much it changes your life. But I do want to get back to the actionable steps, because I know that people really want to.
Yeah, or what exactly do we need to cut out? Like, what exactly does that entail? Cutting things out.
Yeah, so cut out. So you got to cut out pretty much anything that gives you like a rush. Not anything that makes you feel a little bit good, like talking to your friends or family. Like, don't be one of those weird.
Well, that's a good source of dopamine.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be one of those weirdos that like. isolates themselves on a dopamine detox because talking to your family gives you dopamine, so you're just not going to talk to your mom for like 3 months. Like like don't be one of those people.
It's insane.
But anything that gives you an unnatural sense of dopamine, so things like junk food, things like porn, things like social. I mean, you shouldn't be watching porn at all. But things like social media, video games, anything that gives you like a rush, usually something digital, although it can be something in the physical world like comfort food. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to be something on a screen. That's usually what it is nowadays. That's what people tend to fall to the most. And I find even podcasts as well.
Everything.
Yeah, except for ours. Obviously, keep watching our podcast. But
when you are doing the detox, though, like I think we both did this, was like, I'm not watching. I used to, as soon as I get in my car, it's music.
Yeah.
Or it's a podcast.
Yes. What I realize is those moments in your car are the moments like you were talking about where you're like, I got to lock in, and you actually start coming up with new ideas. There are so many things that are buried in the back of your mind that could literally change your life, ideas that you could have, and even just bursts of motivation. So many things in the back of your mind, reflections about yourself, things that you realize you need to do better. There are so many things buried in the back of your mind that you could be thinking about on that 30-minute commute, but instead you're filling your head with music or a podcast.
Yeah.
And once you shut that stuff off, all of those things start flowing back in, and that will change your life.
I guess that kind of hurts us in a way because we have a podcast.
Yeah, no, just keep watching our podcast,
Yeah, just
but
keep
nobody
watching ours and then just
No,
throw
I'm just kidding.
everything else
Seriously,
out.
if this is actually, if you're watching this and this is actually like becoming a source of brain rot for you, please don't watch it. That's why we're not putting any more flashy visuals and Subway Surfers gameplay in the background.
Well, this is
because
the
you really
last
don't
thing
need
you
to
watch
be.
for 2 weeks. You're
Yeah,
going
the last
to help
thing you
your
watch for
brain.
2 weeks. But as far as the actionable steps, cut out porn altogether. That's something that you should never go back to. Cut out social media, cut out video games, cut out junk food. And the last thing, cut out music. Music is a huge one. And the last
Even
thing,
in the gym, be bored.
even in
Just
the gym,
work out.
Be
bored.
bored in the gym. And it's only like 2 weeks. You don't have to do it forever.
Yeah.
But just see how you feel afterwards. And the last thing is, there's a 6th source of dopamine. And I actually don't know what it is because it's different for everybody. When I say the 6th source of dopamine is there's going to be one other thing that's going to creep back in that you didn't even know you struggled with. But I guarantee you that if you cut out all 5 things that I just mentioned, there's going to be one thing that's going to creep into your mind, some weird urge that you haven't had in forever. Like you could get an urge to check your email. I'm no joke. I was getting urges to check my email several times a day. And I never even look at my emails half the time. So you will have some weird, if there's anything your brain is really trying to urge you to do, you really need to check your notifications. You need to look at your phone and see if anybody's texting you. You need to look at your email. If there's any weird thing that your brain is telling you to do, oftentimes it's your brain that's like absolutely tweaking because you cut off all the sources of dopamine and it's scrambling to find another thing it can grab onto and use.
Tell them what's the worst one.
Oh, the worst one
The
is
killer.
Lust. That's the worst one. That's the
beat.
worst one.
And
even if
hit like a truck.
And
on
even
this.
even if you thought that you beat lust, I guarantee you when you do a dopamine detox, it'll come back.
Yeah, for the guys, it is, especially if you are currently on corn.
No, even if you're off of it, it doesn't even matter.
It will.
If you could be off of it for 5 years, and that thing and those temptations will come back. And it's not because you even struggle with it normally. It's because you have shut off so many sources of dopamine that your brain is absolutely crashing out and just finding any source.
How can I get the most at one time quickly?
Your brain will try to find anything it can plug into, and the most important thing is to not give into it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I never struggled with was comfort food. I've never craved comfort food. I've never been a food junkie. I just never liked that stuff. But then all of a sudden I see a bagel out with cream cheese and I'm like literally craving this thing on the counter because I wasn't scrolling on Instagram Reels. So Instagram Reels was my weakness and I cut it off and then I immediately start craving junk food.
Oh my gosh.
And there was another thing as well. What was it? Yeah, I remember one time a while ago I tried to do like an Instagram fast. And I always liked Instagram Reels and I thought YouTube Shorts were crap. Like I would never watch YouTube Shorts. And then you could literally see in my screen time, the amount of time that I would spend on YouTube Shorts would start to increase because when I couldn't get short form content from Instagram, my brain would look for the next best thing. Like, hey, it's not the best thing, but it works. And that's the trap you have to watch out for. That's the reason why I think most people kind of fail at dopamine detoxes. And I think that I did in the past whenever I tried to do it before. It's because you literally have to remove virtually every source of dopamine. If you leave one open, your brain will exploit it. And that's the problem. So you have to literally cut off everything, and you have to literally be comfortable being bored. That's what you have. That's the secret. That's the missing piece that most people forget about. And I think that's why most people tend to fail these types of challenges, where they end up brain rotting. They end up going back to what they were doing before. They don't see any improvement, and they're like, oh, well, this doesn't work. And it's because of those little things they were doing. Like, even it could even be checking your email. You have to ask yourself, am I checking my email because there's something that I need to see in here, or is it because my brain is telling me to do it? And you might think this is weird that I'm saying this until you cut off all the other sources of dopamine, and your brain will be scrambling for things to check or things to work on or things to look at, or, like I said, just weird urges that you didn't even know you had.
For me, man, like when we started doing this, there is natural ways to get good dopamine. We're not saying all dopamine is bad, because it's not. Like, for me, dude, I think it's been one of the most life-changing things, especially with this beautiful snow around us here and, you know, beautiful looking scenery, is I would get in I want to go scroll or something like that.
This
or
is
I don't
not an
wanna do the
LED
work.
wall, by the way.
Yeah,
this is not a green screen.
It's gorgeous. Like, this is what God has created here. And dude, I would sit in the boredom and I would just breathe, think about it, and then I would think about the pain of my life if I keep folding to the pressure, and I would go right to the window and I would look outside. And once you sit in the boredom for a few minutes and then go look outside, it's nice.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Like the colors, like you see, like there's little tops of trees over there, like the red right there. I would see that and be like, dang, that's like actually really beautiful. And then you notice the bird right there eating the food, or you notice, like, I looked down and there was like a squirrel right there and it was just like cleaning itself or something like that. And you never would have noticed that if you wouldn't have been doing this.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's probably the saddest part about social media, is it basically robs you of your ability to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Because 50 years ago, this is what you would be doing on a Saturday afternoon. These are the types of things that you would find enjoyment in. And now we don't even experience it.
It almost makes me angry because it's just robbing people of happiness.
Just think of how much, if you're like, oh, I'm going to miss out on so much on social media. Imagine how much you're missing out on in real life because of social media.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, that's kind of like the biggest kicker. If you're worried about missing out, dude, you've been missing out your whole life. And that's what you notice. It's like, once you get those natural sources of dopamine, you start enjoying your normal life, your everyday life. And that's when all of a sudden it's like you don't even want to go back.
Everything becomes happy. Every work becomes enjoyable. Conversations with your friends become more meaningful. Your whole life levels up. I mean, you can do cold plunges every day, but then you go and scroll. You can stop corn. But you're still watching YouTube. You can do all this, and it's minor adjustments, but the fast track is to cut it all out for at least 2 weeks, stick to it, and I promise you, as we're on it, this is not a 2-week thing anymore. It's a lifetime thing. If I want to actually be successful, it's going to have to be a lifetime thing, and I'm completely fine with that because my life has been much happier. Our lives are being fulfilled. I feel much more fulfilled. I feel closer to God too.
Dude, I remember I was the other night. I remember I was getting those like temptations and stuff like that, and I just decided to open my Bible and start doing push-ups in my room.
Yeah.
And I actually like enjoyed that. I did it with no music. Normally I'd have to plug in the music. I'd have to get myself fired up. Otherwise I couldn't do it. And then meanwhile, I'm sitting here and I'm like craving my next set of push-ups. And then when I'm finishing my set of push-ups, I'm craving the next chapter of the Bible, and I would read one chapter of the Bible and go back to push-ups. And I was literally like enjoying this experience with no music and no stimulation. Like, that's what happens when you remove the cheap dopamine, and then you can actually experience life to the fullest. And I think that's what's so important. So I think, to reiterate, cut out every source of cheap dopamine, not the sources of good dopamine like your Bible and your workouts, but cut out social media, porn, cut that one out permanently. Cut out video games, cut out even sometimes like TV shows too. It's like that can also
Just
be
honestly every form of media, to be honest. For at
pretty
least
much
the
every form
first
of
2
media.
weeks, every form of media.
Yeah, and even podcasts, because those moments where you're driving in your car, you could genuinely think of something that will change your life and you'd have no idea because you were listening to like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with listening to Joe Rogan, but there are so many things in your life, there are so many things in the back of your mind that you're missing out on because you're trading it.
I will say, after the 2 weeks, what will happen, it's happened for probably both of us, is you cut out the media really hard for the first 2 weeks, full detox.
Yeah.
Probably, honestly, a month.
Yeah.
Full detox. And then when you go back into it, into kind of like getting back in the process, you're more conscious now of what you're actually doing. So therefore, you won't, like, yeah, it's fine to go listen to a podcast.
And that's the thing too.
Don't watch reels.
Right. That's the thing too. I think I am going to go back to listening to podcasts, but I'm more aware of it now.
Yeah.
And I'm more aware of it's like, okay, I need to have certain times where I'm quiet, because it's the problem is like when you feel like you need to have every single waking, when you feel like you need to be stimulated in every single waking moment, that's when you run into the issue.
Yeah.
So once you're more aware of it, you can take things that are less stimulating, like podcasts, especially ours, and reintroduce them into your life. and you can actually manage it responsibly because it's something that you actually benefit from, and you're only doing it because you benefit from it, not because you're craving it as like a need. You know what I mean? So anytime your brain is telling you like, I really need to do this, unless it's literally work or something that's actually going to benefit you, don't do it. Sit in the boredom, sit in the silence. Don't feel like you need to fill in every single moment. And then when you're in that silence, that's when you'll start reflecting. That's when you'll be spending time with God. And that's where your vision for your life will fully begin to develop. And that's when you'll feel a motivation unlike anything you've ever felt before to put your body in motion and go after it.
Yeah, I mean, that's well said. I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Real quick, I did want to talk to the viewer. If you're still watching this, I think you know what you need to do.
By the way, if you're still watching this, congratulations, because most people in our generation are not capable of
and if you go through with this, or you'll notice a difference, not even in the 2 weeks, you'll notice a difference probably in a few days. Go to our Instagram, DM us, let us know that this helped you.
Yeah. Just put it in the comments.
Yeah,
let everybody know.
We're trying to build a community here of like strong people that want to level up their lives. And I promise you, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not a broken person. You just have a influx of dopamine that when you have a cheap dopamine hit, it sends you below baseline. That is the input of failure. That's the problem with everything that I've been noticing in my life. Yeah. That's it.
And once you make that change, you'll realize what you're actually capable of, and then you almost won't even want to go back.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could both say that this is the code to changing your life full time. If there's one thing I would say, it's do a dopamine detox and stick to it. Yeah. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram. We have episodes like this every week.
Yes, and watch all of our other episodes 2 weeks from now. Don't watch any other podcasts. No. I was gonna say, feel free to watch any episode you want from us starting 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
Do not watch any more podcasts for the next 2 weeks or any of the other things that I mentioned, because you need to be in a position where you can reset and assess your life, and then you can decide, is this podcast going to actually benefit my life?
Yeah. If you could hit the subscribe button or give us a follow. We're a small channel right now.
Yeah.
We're grinding. This will be episode 21 for us. We're just trying to grow this message and be able to scale this so that our goal is to be able to do this full time. You hitting the subscribe button, give us a follow, sharing this with somebody, like, genuinely, we really do appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
But all in all, we do appreciate you for listening to this. So thank you so much.
Yeah. You guys have a blessed day.
Yeah. God bless.